What would you say if I told you that you could heat your home for an entire winter heating season and not spend 1 penny on gas or electricity or fuel oil? And what would you say if I told you that there's a source of energy that's plentiful, renewable, and available to every single citizen of our country free of charge? Well, you've guessed what it is, I'm sure. It's the sun. That bright, burning star that's the source of life for this planet. And it can also be the source of a better life for you and me. Now, how can we tap the sun to heat our homes? Well, it's solar energy. And the technology is here today to heat our homes with pollution-free energy. And that technology is available to you. Now, we're going to show you how you can tap from our brightest star and harness its energy for your very own, as we show you how to make the power switch. Hi, I'm Bill Whitty, and welcome to Power Switch. Today we're going to visit a family that had a dream. You might say that they hitched their hopes to a star. For we're going to visit the Stokes family, who are inhabitants of a passive solar home. We're standing on a hilltop about 40 miles north of Atlanta, Georgia. And with us today are the Stokes family. And we have Bridgie and Chuck and Kim and Skeet. And obviously, we're standing in front of a home that is a little bit out of the ordinary. In fact, you might say it's a very unusual house. Skeet, what kind of a house do we have here?
Well, basically, this is a passive solar house that was designed by Lee Butler. It's known as an Ecosia home, and it functions on what is known as gravity loop convection, with a greenhouse to the south side and a double wall on the north side, all of which are tied in with a basement or a crawl space rather, and an attic space.
All right, now when you say it's a passive home, why don't you explain exactly what a passive home is, and then we're going to talk a little bit about what it's like to live in a passive home.
Okay, passive in effect means non-active, or you do not use mechanical means to move the air around the house, or at least to any large degree. Now, our home at present has no active mechanism such as fans to either heat or cool the home.
And it does not have solar collectors?
Well, the house itself is a solar collector.
But no solar collectors per se on the roof or otherwise?
Right. Not what you're referring to as a flat plate solar collector, which would have water pumped through it, etc. No, we don't have that type of mechanism.
All right. Now, let me ask you this. Where did you live before you moved out here north of Atlanta into this passive house?
Okay, we lived in Sandy Springs. We owned a condominium there. It was a 2-bedroom townhouse, and we liked it very much. But as time went on, it became evident that we were going to need a larger space. We wanted to move out into the country, and so at that time I started looking around for property as well as studying for an alternate way to go, because we felt very strongly that in several years the energy situation was going to be more critical than it was at that time, judging on what had happened back in '73 and '74. And we wanted to build a home that was going to be as comfortable as it could possibly be under all circumstances, should that situation become a reality.
Hey, Bridgie, let me ask you this. Other than saving energy, what other changes in lifestyle did you hope would be accomplished by moving into a location and into a house like this?
Well, for one, we mainly wanted to get away from the hustle-bustle everyday thing that everybody goes through, get away from the busy traffic. We wanted some property, and we've got about 5.5 acres here, and we've got about 1.5 acres of pasture. We eventually want to get a horse and put there, and also to have a garden where we can grow our own food and not depend solely on buying, all our food in the grocery store, and also to have more room in the house for our family.
Skeet, let me ask you how you found out about a passive house or this particular design, and what made you want to take this adventure into building your own passive house.
Well, in the course of calling on one of my customers, I sell aluminum, and this gentleman knew I was interested in solar, and he had seen an article in one of the national magazines and brought it to my attention. And as a result of that, after reading it, I became very excited about the concept by Butler, the envelope concept, and then decided to contact him and see what we could come up with.
So at that point, you decided that you wanted to build and live in a passive house.
That's right. And prior to that time, I had the opportunity of having a set of plans drawn for me at no expense, and that didn't work out, and it just kind of gave me the opportunity to go ahead and put out the bid and contact Butler and contract with him to design our home.
Did Bridgie share your enthusiasm initially about going in this type of house, let's say, as opposed to a conventional house?
I think she had some reservations at first because she thought it might mean like going back and living in an adobe hut or something, but it's been far from that. It's been a very pleasant experience other than the frustration of getting it together. It's been pleasant since we've gotten it to this point and really enjoyed living in the home.
Bridgie, before we talk about how the house actually works, let me ask you, what was the turning point that maybe helped you to decide that it was okay to try a passive house?
It was a lot of things. We, mainly to save energy, I guess, was our main reasoning.
So you were convinced that there's really going to be an energy problem ahead, and you wanted to play it safe and have a house that would be very efficient in energy consumption.
Yes, definitely.
So energy consumption and change of lifestyle is the main reason that a family wanted to move out in the woods in North Atlanta with a passive house.
Yes, I'd say when we started our search about 2.5 years ago, I felt that, that definitely there was going to be a problem from an energy standpoint. And as I said earlier, we just really wanted to get our act together and be in a situation where we could live a more comfortable lifestyle under most any circumstance that might exist.
A little bit back to nature.
Right.
All right, Skeet, well, what do you say we take a look around the house and maybe you can tell us just about how it works?
Great. Come on in.